Hello, welcome to this tutorial video that takes you through how to write about the play Macbeth. The extract that the essay focuses upon is from Act 4, Scene 3 between Malcolm and Macduff. And it's the part where Malcolm opens the scene by saying he has none of the qualities that a king should have. And then finally going down to Macduff's line, "Thy hope ends," when he feels that no one can save Scotland, not even Malcolm, because obviously Malcolm's lied to Macduff in order to test him. So if you haven't read the extract yet, I advise you to do so now before continuing with the video. The question we'll have a very quick look at now, and then obviously I will take you through the answer. So, starting with this extract, how does Shakespeare present ideas about kingship? So, we've got that word how, so we're looking at not only in what sort of way does Shakespeare present kingship, what's his kind of thoughts and opinions about kingship, but also in terms of methods. And those methods should be largely focused around the extract itself, because that's where you can take your detailed quotations from. Methods obviously cover a range of things such as language, things like structure. Within that, of course, you've got the rhythm of the piece, the iambic pentameter. You've got the order of words, even how sentences are constructed, and then of course you've got the words themselves, the language. So those are things that really should be talked about when you're doing essays such as these. And the steer of the question, the seventh question stays the same, of course, the starting with this extract, how does Shakespeare, but the steer of the question can alter from series to series. And in this case, it's a thematic question, and it's about kingship. It's quite a challenging question, really. So it's well worth having a look at the model essay. So kingship, we're thinking of the qualities of a leader, what makes a good leader, what makes a bad leader, and perhaps the contrasts between the two, and which characters, we should be thinking which characters actually portray kingship. Without a doubt, there is Macbeth, who has a tyrannical leadership, and we also have King Duncan, who is the complete opposite of that, who is completely virtuous and mild in his office. Malcolm at the end takes the role of king, and we've also got a mention of King Edward, the English king, and Malcolm praises him for his healing qualities and his piety. So you can write about those sort of characters and how Shakespeare presents his own ideas about kingship through those characters. And that obviously brings us to the play as a whole. Within the extract, we see Malcolm's opinions about what makes a good king. We also see Macduff's opinions about what makes a bad king, and he refers to obviously the tyrant of Macbeth and the tyranny he's caused. So there's quite a lot that we can pick out of that extract about kingship. One thing I would always urge you to do is plan before you write. I've recently marked lots of essays on this question, and nobody, it seems, has taken the time to plan. It's really important that you do that. Take about 5 minutes just to scribble down on the page what kind of thing you're going to talk about, because it helps put it in a nice logical order, and that you don't then obviously forget anything. So the plan here, I want to open with some ideas, general ideas about kingship, and mention the fact that it's portrayed through the characters such as Duncan and Macbeth, and that they provide a contrast with each other. And I would like to link it to the Jacobean belief of the divine right to kings, and I'll explain obviously what that is in my introduction. I don't want to dwell upon the belief systems at the time, because you don't want your AO3 context to be all kind of tagged on at the beginning or the end. You want to make it embedded through your analysis. But I think at this stage it's possibly worthwhile mentioning. As you can see there, we're going to have then a quick look at Duncan and what's said about Duncan in the extract, how that's contrasted with Macbeth, and how he's described as a tyrant. And you can see here I've already started to think about my methods how Shakespeare actually portrayed those contrasts to the audience. He does use an asymptotic list quite early on in the extract, which is quite important. And then finally, bringing it out to the rest of the play with King Edward and then Malcolm's rule at the end. So I'm hoping you'll see how the essay has been constructed.